Kirk, a lot of people are looking at you as kind of a final piece to lead the Vikings to the Super Bowl and perhaps a win. What kind of extra pressure, or what kind of pressure does that put on you?
All I can do is do what's right in front of me. I can't win the Super Bowl today. Okay, I can do a press conference to talk about a contract and then go from there. So what I'm looking forward to is getting to know teammates over the next few weeks, reaching out to them, building relationships, hopefully being able to spend some time with them and then get to work April 16th with the organization. That's where my focus lies. And from there we'll build and hopefully be able to have those conversations down the road.
Kirk Daniel Cousins. If you are a Minnesota Vikings fan, you know there is not a more polarizing person than the starting quarterback of the past 6 seasons. There is not a player in my recent memory that has had fans of a franchise debating over more than Kirk. There are fans that absolutely think he's one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the organization. Then there are people on the polar opposite spectrum where they think he is not a good quarterback at all. So what's the correct answer here? Well, it's complicated. There is a lot of good about Kirk Cousins, but there is also a lot of bad that can sometimes be concerning. Kirk Cousins is a free agent going into the 2024 season, so the Vikings have a big decision of what to do about Kirk Cousins. Should they bring him back, or should they let him walk? Let's break down the 6 seasons of Kirk Cousins with the Minnesota Vikings. Let's start with the bad. In the 6 seasons Kirk Cousins has played with the Vikings, they have only played in 3 playoff games and have 1 victory in those 3 games. When Kirk was originally brought to Minnesota, it was simply Super Bowl or bust. And well, we sure haven't done that. Now, personally, talking about playoff wins as a quarterback stat is kind of a lazy take, but at the same time, the quarterback needs to elevate their team and get them over the hump. And Kirk, to this point, has not done that. Now, this doesn't mean he can't do it or isn't capable of doing it. He just simply has not done it to this point. In 2019, he had a great game against the Saints to beat them in overtime, but then followed it up with a not-so-good game against the 49ers. In 2022, he had a very good game, but unfortunately, his defense could not stop anything that day. That defense was so bad, thanks to Ed, it got Daniel Jones a massive contract extension. But that's a whole different topic. Back to Kirk. In the game against the Giants, he had that infamous check down to Hawkinson that ended the game. Now, personally, I have no issue with that throw because of how good Hawkinson was that game. I think he could have easily gotten the yards after the catch to get the first down. But, unfortunately, he didn't, and the game ended, and the rest is history. So those are the seasons we made the playoffs. But then there's the other seasons where we were not good enough with him to make the playoffs. 2018, they went 8-7-1. 2020, 7-9. 2021, 8-8. And in 2023, the team finished 7-9, even though Kirk got hurt week 8 of the season, right after beating the 49ers on Monday Night Football without Justin Jefferson. In my opinion, if Kirk stayed healthy, we would have made the playoffs in 2023. But he didn't stay healthy, and here we are. Another bad thing about Kirk is that he has the tendency to get jittery, especially when things are already going bad. Lately, he's been better at bouncing back after a mistake. But when he throws an interception or fumbles the ball, he sometimes gets jittery and can't make a decision as quickly as he usually does. A very valid criticism for him, and I think most fans get frustrated when he does that. This is when he gets in his own head and either makes another mistake or plays it way too safe, causing the offense to get stagnant. With Kevin O'Connell, there's been a lot less of this happening, but it still happens every now and then. The final bad thing about Kirk is he's going to cost a lot of money to bring back to Minnesota. There was a report out there that Kirk wants 2 years, $90 million, fully guaranteed, but those reports apparently are not true. Let's pretend like that hypothetical is true. It seems like a lot of money for a 36-year-old quarterback coming off a torn Achilles injury. But that is the going rate for a quarterback in the NFL. Going back to Daniel Jones, he's getting $40 million a year. And Kirk Cousins is much better than Daniel Jones. Paying that much for a quarterback like Kirk seems like an overpay for someone that has one playoff win and has not elevated the team as much as he should be. The argument for extending him is that he does have a void year in 2024. So if we did extend him, we would actually save money in cap space this season by doing so. Honestly, we are nitpicking if the reason you don't want Kirk Cousins to be the quarterback is because he makes, quote, too much money. Let's talk about the good things about Kirk Cousins. Since arriving in Minnesota, Kirk Cousins has been consistently a top 12 quarterback in the NFL. And most recently, in 2023, he was playing at a top 5 level, and he wasn't 5. This is a position that the Minnesota Vikings have struggled to find competent play at since Brett Favre. Kirk has brought consistency with his play since signing with the Vikings, throwing for over 4,000 yards in 4 of his 6 seasons, and one of those non-seasons being 2023 when he was on pace to throw way over 4,000 yards. The only other Vikings quarterbacks to ever throw for more than 4,000 yards in a season were Brett Favre, Dante Culpepper, and Warren Moon. We have had 5 years of consistent quarterback play, and in his 6th year, he was playing some of his best football he's ever played before he got hurt. Aside from the 2023 season, Kirk had been one of the most durable quarterbacks in the league, which is crazy for how often he got destroyed at times in games. He is one of the toughest players in the entire league. Super ironic that his season-ending injury was a non-contact injury after all the beatings he has taken in the past. It's tough to say he's durable when he is currently rehabbing from an Achilles injury, but the vast majority of his career he has been great at keeping his body ready to go for Sundays no matter the circumstances. Lastly, you can't take away his absolute leadership that he provides for the team. He is someone that the guys in the locker room absolutely love, and 1,000,000% everyone rallies behind him. He does have a very different kind of leadership. Definitely a dad-like swagger about him. But he does have that quality about him, and that cannot be ignored in this analysis. So what do Kwesi and the Minnesota Vikings do? Well, there's really only 2 options. You can either sign him or let him walk. Each of those decisions have implications following them. So let's break them down. Let's start with bringing him back. Let's say you re-sign Kirk to a 3-year deal worth about $45 million a year. Maybe a bit high, but I feel like that's the absolute ceiling Kirk can make. You probably can't bring back Hunter long term, but maybe you could still work something out. Hunter might want to go somewhere else anyways. The Vikings cap situation for 2024 gets better because of the void year Kirk already had on the books for us, so it's really not doing anything to mortgage our future. This does not handcuff you from extending Jefferson or Darrisaw, but it might not let you be very competitive for a big-time free agent for a different position of need. This gives you flexibility in the draft as well, so you aren't desperate to get the quarterback of the future. You can still draft one, but you can let him learn behind Kirk for a year or two. If we have Kirk and draft someone that will eventually replace him, that is also great, because then we can trade Kirk away to a team that needs a quarterback for assets like the Chiefs did. Now, I'm not saying we're drafting Mahomes at all, but I don't think Patrick Mahomes is who he is without sitting a year behind Alex Smith. On the flip side, let's say we let him walk and he signs with a different team. The Vikings better have a plan that is not Russell Wilson quarterbacking this team in 2024. If the Vikings do not sign Kirk Cousins, we better have a guy that Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi absolutely love that makes them comfortable to start on day 1. The Vikings have a lot of weapons that can be great for any young quarterback's development. With a rookie quarterback salary, that gives them the ability to re-sign Hunter easier, which still isn't guaranteed, but you can put more money into bringing him back. We can get some more help on the defensive side of the ball for Flores. The defense did take a big step up in B-Flow's first year, and adding big free agent pieces would be significant. Those are the options we have on the table for the Vikings. So what's the right answer? What I think they should do is bring him back on a 2 or 3 year extension and have stability at the position while also drafting for the future in this draft. Then, if you think the guy you drafted in this draft is the future of the franchise, you have the ability to trade Kirk to a team that needs a quarterback. I feel like this is the best of both worlds. Keeping a franchise that has been deprived of consistency at the quarterback position in the past, consistent at the position while drafting young talent that can learn behind Kirk and eventually give him the job in 1 or 2 years. But if the team decides to go into a different direction, it will be set up for one of the most interesting off seasons we have seen since we brought Kirk in. I'm all for entertainment, but if it ends with Russell Wilson at quarterback and we don't get our quarterback of the future, buckle up. Thank you for watching. This is my first real video on this channel, and it would mean a lot if you liked and subscribed for more video content like this. I'm very passionate about Minnesota sports and love having an outlet where I can discuss. This has been Minnesota Sports Now. Thank you again, and Skol Vikings.